Okay, so next we're gonna make a multi-page form. I personally never really had to make one of these forms, so maybe this might not be the best practice, but what I'm gonna show here does get the job done, and I think it's a pretty simple solution. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna turn this 5-input form into 3 pages. So we're gonna use the power of useState. So let's start with creating pages. So let's create a useState which will manage our pages, and we'll start on page 1. So page and set page. And let's separate our inputs so that only some things appear on some pages. So let's start with the email input. So we'll only show the email if the page is equal to 1. Put that right here. Okay. And then we'll show the username and password fields if page is equal to 2. So let's put it right here. And it's going to complain because we have 2 elements here. So let's go ahead and wrap it around a React fragment. Okay. And then our last 2 elements are color and bio, only if we're on page 3. And again, we have to wrap it around a React fragment. So let's go ahead and do that. Awesome. Okay. So if I change this manually to page 2, we should have this page and then page 3. Okay. Looks good. And then what else will we need? Let me see here. Okay, so we're gonna need some buttons. Multiple buttons here. So let's deal with that. So if our page is greater than 1, we'll have a button with class name button. And make sure you write type button so the form doesn't submit, because this is just a regular button. It's not our submission button. And this will be previous. On click, we will set the page to page -1. Okay. If our page is less than 3, we will have another button. Let's copy this one. Where we set the page to page +1. Next. Next. Okay, so let's try it out. Next. Next. Previous. Previous. Okay. And we only want to submit this if we're on page equal to 3. Okay, so next, next, submit, and previous, previous, previous. Okay, so that can take care of the buttons. Now, how do I want to... Okay, so let's create some state to hold our form values. Otherwise, what's the point? So, const form data, set form data. We'll use useState again. useState. We'll create an initial values object. Const initial values. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. It's just empty string for everything except for color will be red. And then for each of our inputs, we'll have a value and then a on change. So let's go here. Input value is equal to form data.email on change set form data to form data email e.target.value. Just copy this for everything. This would be username. This would be password. This would be color. And this will be bio. So let's go ahead and create a submit handler. Let's see if we can grab these values. On submit, handle submit, const handle submit is equal to event, a form event based on the HTML form element, prevent default, and let's just log the form data. Let's try it out. So giraffe at example.com. Next page, username giraffe, password elevated. Next page, favorite color, let's leave it at red. And let's say bio is I am a giraffe. Submit. There you go. So we got our values. So one thing to note is, let's go to our first page. If I'm typing my email and press the enter button, it's going to submit the form. As you can see here, it's logging ×9. So we can create a little function here to make sure it doesn't submit on enter. So we call it prevent submit on enter e.react.keyboard event input type. If e.key is equal to enter, we just prevent default. So input type is, again, we have to make that type. Input type is either HTML input element or HTML select element or HTML text area element. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on each form. Input, so on key down, prevent submit on enter. On key down, prevent submit on enter. On key down, prevent submit on enter. I'm trying to see if I need to do this on the select and the, no need to do it on select and the, let's double check that real quick. Now that I press enter, it's not submitting. Next, if I press enter here, that's fine, and here it's fine too. So here we really only need the HTML input element. So we don't even need this type at all. Because if we press enter in the text area, we want to go to the next line. And if we press enter and select element, it looks like it doesn't do anything. So yeah, this is a multi-page form. It's a very simple solution. You can make it a lot more pretty with CSS and stuff. You can show like how many pages are left. And if you go through each page and you mess up, want to go back, the information is still here because we save it all in the state. So these are all controlled inputs. That's what helps keep us. That's what keeps the form values persistent through the pages. And it's not literal pages. We're just switching out what components are being shown with the page number and our page state. So yeah, it's a very simple solution to do a multi-page form.